Yeah, good evening. We already have 51 members on board and many more on the queue trying to join. So we have a
Okay.
total of about close to 200 people that applied to join. So let us move on. We will record the presentation so that those that will not be able to attend will enjoy the video afterwards. So at this point, permit me to introduce our guest speaker today. He is our very own and a member in council, Her Royal Majesty Adaku Chidume-Okoro FCA, ICAN Council member BSc, MSc, PGD, Computer Science, UNILAG. She is actually an entrepreneur by practice, so she's going to give it to us raw. So, madam, you are welcome, and thank you so much for honoring our invitation to lecture us today. Thank you. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Oti. Once more, welcome to my agri-export mentoring series. My name is Her Royal Majesty Adaku Chidume-Okoro. If you wouldn't mind, let me tell you a bit about myself, or I'll rather Namde does that. Please, can you give a little brief about my background before I take off? Thank you.
Yeah, Her Royal Majesty has been into practical export business for a while, and she's a member of council, and she's been mentoring a lot of people, and we feel that we should not be left out. So we have to approach her as a team, a member of a page platform, on behalf of page platform. I'm one of the moderators of page. Big auntie, this one you've been training others. We also need you to come and mentor us here. We want our members to be empowered, and that is why we have gone to meet her. So she's now with us. So we should all be prepared. She's not a theory person, more practical. So thank you. Welcome, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, Namde, once more. Like Namde rightly said, and this is what I know how best to do, agribusiness export. We've been in export business for well over 30 years, and we have flown Nigerian's flag at international trade exhibitions all over the world. My company has been to London, Frankfurt, Netherlands, New Orleans in the US, Chicago, Las Vegas, Shanghai, Mexico City, amongst others. I have passionately done the business of agri-exports, and based on my consistency and the commitment which we've been doing this business, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in 2010 gave me an award in recognition of my efforts as Nigerian's Woman Exporter of the Year, non-oil exports. So I feel I should share part of my experience, part of my skills, part of my knowledge with you, the participants at today's forum. I know amongst us are some chartered accountants, non-accountants, engineers, medical doctors, and other professionals. But we have to realize that when it comes to practical business, the common denominator is your skill and your determination to succeed, and whether you have entrepreneurial calling. I go back to the objective of today's meeting. Our objective is one, to broaden our income earning, whether you're an accountant or non-accountant. No matter how much you earn, I'm sure no money is too much. So the idea is to encourage us to broaden our income earning through non-oil exports, especially agri produce, where I major. Also, to provide the possible income source for our members with very strong entrepreneurial skills. We also want to provide sustainable investment option for members who have idle funds, as well as strengthen our income earning capacity as accountants through consulting services in the agri sector. To encourage our members to key into the vision of seeing and appreciating agriculture as a business prior to now as a means of livelihood, just to make a living. But it's a differentiate agri as a business. Just like you have for the medical doctors, you have your hospitals. For the engineers, maybe you have your consultancy business. You offer different services. Those are your business lines. So for you to see agri as a business, it means you give it that same level of commitment, that same level of attention, that same level of passion to ensure that it succeeds. Our next objective is to broaden our understanding of global trade and business. And then to assess mentorship from real-time practitioners in the non-oil exports business. Have opportunity to contribute to Nigeria's foreign exchange earnings from non-oil exports when you repatriate your export proceed. This, in a nutshell, is the objective I've always had at the back of my mind in running my mentoring series. We will start today's lesson by my quoting a former Federal Minister of Agriculture in the person of Akinwumi Adesina, who had this to say: the future millionaires and billionaires of they will be coming from agricultural sector. But I want African countries to be looking at agriculture as a business. No, but everybody eats food. So food is a critical thing, and that is what makes Africa have a comparative advantage. Adesina was a former federal minister of Agri and currently the president, African Development Bank. Having said that, we go to the next slide, which I called introduction. Please, Isuti, help me put the slide, the one that is introduction, put it on the screen so that all will see.
It's there already.
Okay, I'm not saying it. With my introduction, I talk about the law of poverty. Talk about not my original thinking, but I copied it from somewhere, and I think to a large extent what it states, most of what it states are true. The law of poverty, this says that salaried work alone can never make anybody wealthy. True or false? I'm sure it's correct. While 95% of people in the world find themselves in that bracket of being salaried people, the people under this law, that is those that are salaried, they run after credentials, they have this ego around themselves. I won't do menial job. There are certain jobs, job sets I can't condescend to do in. They wear white, they run after white collar jobs, wear suits to work, and the likes of that. They seek for one job after the other. They have someone called their boss, while their salary is a fixed amount. They don't ever have their freedom. True or false? Somebody funny, it's funny, but it makes sense, said the definition of salary as spelled is S for small, A for amount, L for limiting, A is and, R is restricting, and Y is you. So when you say you're collecting salary, invariably, the meaning is small amount, limiting and restricting you. That is what you've gotten. These people, that is the people that find themselves in this bracket, they always look for jobs, and they are called the working class. While job, that acronym means just over broke. You're just over broke. Is that the people that want to get wealthy, they prefer to work with teams or groups of people. They have ideas, and they take risk, calculated risk. Again, unfortunately, just about 5% of the people of this world belong to this bracket. The people under this law, that is law of wealth, they make use of their potentials. They are not too much certificate conscious, and they are called the thinking class. They engage their brain, they engage their skills, they engage their intellect. They go to school, not necessarily to acquire certificates, but to get necessary exposure. They think of what they can offer the society in return and make good money. The people earn their money, which is income, and it is not a fixed amount. So it depends on how desperate, in quotes, you are to apply your skills, take risk, and survive. These people are the thinking class. The difference between is due to the fact that the poor don't make use of the opportunities they see around them, while those that are wealthy make use of every available opportunity that comes their way. The wealthy ones make use of ideas and have big dreams. Sometimes, for such people, their friends, their family members may see them as people that are unrealistic. Why? Because you're not putting yourself within the confines of what is normal. But that is what you need to survive. So these people have big dreams, while the poor are just content with their take-home pay. And unfortunately, the take-home pay doesn't take anybody home. I leave you with this thinking nuggets. Money does not respond to qualifications. Otherwise, the wealthiest people in the world would have been PhD holders. Money does not respond to age also. Otherwise, the oldest twins of this world would have been the richest. It's not about, it's all about what you do after your degree. Have you noticed that first class degree holders are not the richest? Neither are third class degree holders the poorest. There is more to being wealthy than education. The most important thing is your mindset, your creativity instinct, and your ability to take risk. The only person holding your key to success is you. No other person, not your boss, not your family, not your friend, not your spouse, but you. The secret to success as for you to be willing is that the person that must change is then you. Be assured you have all it takes to succeed. Learn to invest the little you have and get a mentor to teach you how to grow your money. And by the way, for agri-export business, I am willing and prepared and available to mentor as many as will key into this. You will also be wondering what made me pursue this business line. Yes, doing this business line. All these are by way of introduction. That is taking us to the lesson 1 of my mentoring series. The lesson 1 of my mentoring series says, the caption is living your passion, living your passion. Remember, we are narrowing this business to agribusiness with specific emphasis on exports of agribusiness, agricultural produce, which is a value chain. What is export? Export is to send goods or services across national boundaries for the purpose of selling and realizing foreign exchange. Agriculture is the science, arts, and business of cultivating soil, producing crop, and raising livestock, as well as farming. What is agri-produce? Since we are exporting agri-produce, this is the output from agricultural activities as stated above. While agribusiness that we are emphasizing today means keying into any aspect of agri value chain and making it a source of financial independence for yourself and impacting other lives through it, as well as contributing to your nation's GDP. For you to successfully run an agribusiness, you must be passionate, very passionate, extremely passionate about it. Ask me if I'm passionate about what I do. I don't think I could have done a better business than the agribusiness which I am involved in. To me, it's very challenging, it's very fulfilling, it's very creative, and I keep thanking God for the opportunity he gave me to express my passion to this extent. As we go on, you will get to understand what I'm talking about. You don't have to go into a business that can succeed. Agribusiness to you has to be something you crave for. You will plan to nurture for it to grow, just like you nurture seeds to germinate, grow, and then fruit. That is the attitude. It will not work as a stopgap, keep busy arrangement. I'm sure you cannot handle it on a part-time basis. You must see and treat it as a baby you are nursing, who needs constant attention and milk supply to survive. It is also a highly technical business that needs your maximum time to understand the technicalities. There are basic steps you need to take if you want to go into agribusiness. These basic steps you also take when you want to venture into every other form of business, whether it's hospitality business, whether it's manufacturing business, whether it's a consultancy business, what have you. There are basic steps you need to take. First and foremost, you need to get your business name and register your business name. Then, because you cannot do export as a person, it's only limited, structured as at now. It's only limited liability companies that can do export. So if you don't have a limited liability company and you're thinking on going into agri-export business, it will be worth your while to first and foremost for you to incorporate your company. So you need to get your company incorporated with CAC. You cannot do export business as a person. You must have a registered company. You must have a registered address. You need to have your basic stationaries also in place. Yes, promotion council. But if you go and start by registering with Nigerian Export Promotion Council, you will find out that your registration tenure may expire without you even doing a single export. So it's good to register, but that shouldn't be your starting point. Your registration with Export Promotion Council can only be meaningful when at least you have tried to get your first export contract. I pause a little. I think I've been speaking since. I wouldn't know if we have concerns at this stage. I'll pause for about 2-3 minutes to take the questions before we continue. It's supposed to be an interactive.
The voice seems to be cracking.
Session. It's not a lecture.
Do we have
any questions
at this stage so that can be addressed? You have some people. Miriam is raising her hand. Miriam, can you go ahead? We have Miriam Mohammed. We have Kayode. So Miriam, go ahead with Miriam. Go ahead with your question, please. Unmute yourself.
Make sure she's not muted.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to check. Hello. Unmute yourself now, Miriam.
Yes, I've done that. Good evening, ma.
Yeah.
Good evening. Thank you for the lecture, ma. My question is, please, I want to ask, what is the first export contract? I don't understand. And then the CAC registration, does it have to do with only export, or you can use any company that you have as a registered company? Thank you, ma.
We have Kayode Onigbogi. Onigbogi, go ahead.
Yes. Good evening, ma. It's my pleasure to be in this meeting. Fortunately, I will not be able to stay till the end because I already have a meeting for 6 p.m. before I saw this invite coming. So I said, whatever be the case, I must attend. My question is, thank you very much. I have passion for agriculture, but for people who are still salary earners, yes, we know salary cannot take us home, but to take the drastic step of just quitting a job like that is difficult. So if agriculture cannot be done on part-time, it has to be full-time. How do we start? What is the process? What do you advise? At least one should be able to see some progress before you can now say, okay, I'm leaving my job entirely. I'm going all length for it. So that is the area I want you to clarify. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Olushola Ogumola, then Rotimi.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. Sorry, good evening. And thank you once again for the opportunity given us to us. Yeah, my question is, I just want to ask, add to what the earlier caller said. Now, if I'm to export, okay, let's say a Fox time export, I need to take the approval from the export promotion before I could do that, or that again, how do I get the license or the vendor that needs my products for export? Thank you.
Rotimi, go ahead. Unmute yourself and talk. Rotimi,
good evening, good evening, man, and good evening, everybody. As far as I know, based on my experience, as little experience I have I used to have in the exports area. Though that was, I was into containerized exporting. But over the years, I've been hearing of Nigerian goods being rejected abroad. And please, I want to know if you can highlight on those, how we can overcome those, this challenge of overcoming how, how we can see that we export goods, agricultural goods that are acceptable over there. How can we go about it? And in terms of maybe not containerized export, maybe sending goods through plane and maybe in a very small quantity, that's to start with. How can we also get genuine buyers over there? And also in terms of the payment terms, we have different payment terms for our buyers. That's between buyers and sellers, different payment terms over there. In terms of maybe we have LC, we have a documents against payment and all and what and all not. So how can we marry all this together to ensure a successful export business? Thank you very much.
I think those are all the questions. Those are all the questions for now, man.
IWAF.
Yes. Okay. Did I do anything wrong there? The questions are over.
Okay. I want to let us know that we cannot learn in one day. Everything we need to know about export business, agri-export business. What I have just told us today is that you have to have that passion first before we can discuss further. It's going to be in a series. What we have done is just lesson what to any company abroad. Remember, we are talking about offshore business. There must be a binding agreement, which is referred to as contract. As we take on the series of lectures for this mentoring, we will now get to know how you can get your export contracts, avenues through which you can get your export contracts. So I encourage you, Miriam, not to miss any of the lectures when scheduled, because you will hear, you will also be given an assignment. You'll be asked to go and try your hands to actually practicalize it. I don't believe in reeling out figures and numbers and making it too technical. We will make it as practical as possible so that by the end of the mentoring session, at least 4 to 5 potential exporters would have been groomed enough to take the dive. Then, if you have a registered company, now your number 2 question, you asked if you can use any company to do export business. If that company has in its memorandum and articles of association export as a clause, one of the things it's set up to do, yes, you can. But if it's, say, like a hospital business, which has nothing to do with exports, you can't possibly use it to do export business. In that case, you will need to incorporate a brand new company that will specify that export is one of the things you will be doing. Then number 2 participant that asked a question. Sorry, I didn't get your name. But your question is, 1, that yes, that I stated that one needs to have passion for agribusiness. And then if you're in a paid employment, that how are you going to take that drastic action of abandoning your job to go full-time into agribusiness? If you listened to my intro, I had said for you to survive, you require some level of risk. Entrepreneurship is all about risk taking. Initially, it's not going to be easy, but with consistency, you will make it. You may be, remember what we are talking on specifically is agri-produce exports, not farming. Everybody is a farmer. I, for one, I cultivate vegetables in my garden, which I use. That one is not agribusiness. It's not agribusiness that we are talking about. We are talking about making agriculture a business. Just like you go to work, just like you set up your consultancy firm, just like you set up your audit practice. You can't be, it's not really, I don't think it's practicable for a medical doctor to have a hospital and still have a restaurant that he'll go and be paying attention to before going for to consult patients at his clinic. In the same vein, if you are running an agri-business, it requires your full-time attention. It's not something you go to work and come back to attend to. What you're doing at the level you're doing it at that level is a hobby, not agribusiness. It's full-time. And so long as you're still doing it as a hobby, it's not a business for you, and you don't expect to get with that line of business. Olushola is the third person that asked a question. He said, for first-time exporters, how do I go about it? Yes, in the course of this mentoring series, you will get to know how you will go about it. Then wrote to me, you talked about Nigerian goods being rejected abroad. Yes, quality issues, quality specifications, then getting buyers and payment terms. In the course of the mentoring series, you will get to learn very well all about this. I hope I've addressed all the questions. Is there any I didn't touch?
You have addressed all of them. But if there's anyone that still thinks
Okay.
they've not addressed questions, you can still raise your hand.
Mr. Nadi, thank you. Sorry, I want to thank Madam for this privilege and the opportunities to share wealth of experience with the members of the House. What I want to ask Madam is that at this stage, I think it will also be better for her to please expatiate on some specific risk, that one can come across when we are talking about this export business venture. Because as an accountant, and challenges, and we have a different risk appetites. People have a different risk appetite. To really have people moving on along, I think I will appreciate if Madam can expatiate on some few risks that people may likely come across and be willing to take, so that people will have a broad mind, and be ready to take up this great opportunity. It's a great opportunity, and no risk, no venture, but it will be really brace up and take what all it takes, to move along with this opportunity. Thank you.
That is Mr. Joseph Adesui.
Yeah, I know
we
that
have,
issue. Yeah.
Joseph.
Yes, yeah. We have Ashade BK also raising. What's the question, Ashade?
Thank you very much, co-host. I appreciate so much what Madam has given to us in this discussion. It's quite enlightening. However, I wish to the line of the last person raising a question. Along the line of giving us the risk areas, it is also, anyway, speaking from my own perspective, new business, especially talking about two things at a time. Two things I mean. Madam has spoken about agric business, which is a specialized business on its own. And at the same time, talking about export business. I will wish that, first of all, we address what that agribusiness is all about, how to go about it for a new person. And perhaps haven't satisfied the domestic needs of agricultural production. one can then extend this and be more comforting to a new one rather than having it all combined, talking of agribusiness and at the same time talking of export business. So if it is possible, madam, I will wish that you address them one after the other, what it takes for one to go into agribusiness, and if in addition to that, one will go into exporting. Thank you.
Okay. Can I?
Yes, yes, ma'am. You can go ahead.
I can go ahead and answer him.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
Ashade, I hope I'm correct.
Yes, Ashade.
The
Ashade.
last speaker.
Yes.
Yes,
Ashade, okay.
you are correct.
If I wouldn't know at what point in time you joined us, we said the topic of mentoring, our mentoring, is agri-produce export business. Agri-produce exports, not farming. Remember, in agri-business, there's value chain. There are those at the primary level of production, cultivation, farming. Then you have those at the processing level. Others processing, packaging, and then distribution. The top echelon is exports, agri-exports. So the exports is like the highest level, I would say. And that is where it happens. If you're into farming, almost everybody can crop something at their garden and get some results. If you're into processing, that's some value addition. Processing, packaging. If you're into distribution, a further value addition. But when you're into exports, that is where it happens. So what I'm encouraging us to do is that if you must think of agric, then think of agric exports. For you as a professional, maybe an engineer, an architect, for you, a university degree holder that wants to do agric as a business, agri-business, I'm encouraging us to go into export business because that is where it's happening. And that is where it will be very, very challenging and satisfying for you to engage in as a professional. Did I address your concern, Ashade?
Effectively
so
well.
You will agree with me.
Yeah.
You will agree with me that a salaried earner cannot possibly go into agri-exports.
At all.
Very committing and demanding. It requires your whole time. We are not talking about farming.
Okay.
Yes, it's agri-business, but we have singled out exports of agri-produce. That is
Very
where
clear.
I am.
Good.
For the primary levels, something like you have a poultry farm or a piggery farm, or you're into fish production. Almost everybody is doing it. So why do you want to do what every other person is doing? We are looking at a niche area that you can go and make a kill, in quotes. In the first place, if you're into agri-business exports, your earnings, your income will be in foreign exchange. It will be in hard currency. You'll be contributing to Nigerians' foreign exchange earning. And the government also encourages those that are into agri-exports. Then, that takes me to the question asked by Joseph. He wants to know the specific risk of venturing into agribusiness. I give a life example. When you go to a swimming pool and you decide to jump into the water to swim, you know there are some risks associated with it. You may not know. People jump into that water and they may never come out. When you decide to go into a business that is very technical, like agri-export business, you're taking a risk, but it's with mentoring, with mentorship, it will be a calculated risk, because your mentor will tell you, do this, don't do this, do this, do this. There's financial risk. There's risk of losing your monthly pay, your salary, like we've been saying. So if you're highly risk averse, then business is not for you. Not everybody is cut out to be an entrepreneur anyway. I keep saying that. Some people just want to stay in their little corner and be comfortable and not take any undue risk. So the specific risk is financial risk. You know, if you are the type that you have family, you have wife, you have children, you need to calculate and check what will become of them if, say, for the next 6 months, you've not found your feet. But again, if you have a mentor, like I've offered to be, somebody that is guiding you, your training period will be shortened, and you will not make a lot of avoidable mistakes if you have a mentor that is guiding you. Thank you. Any more questions?
Okay, I'm with you, Mr. Aute. Good evening, ma. Thank you for the lecture. I just want to raise a particular question based on your response to Ashade. I want to ask, you said it is not compulsory you go into farm production, that you can be, it is better to be an exporter. What will happen if you are unable to source for some of those produce that will be of standard that is required by your vendors? Because definitely, if you are not doing the farming yourself,
we do contracted farming, meaning that we have cooperatives, because now the world over, especially the developed nations, they are very particular about what they eat, what enters their system. You talk about organic and inorganic products. There is a traceability of what they are consuming is a big issue. So because of it, the world over now, they want to know where what you're supplying them is coming, funding. The crop, we control the environment and they supply back to us, and we pay them. But to a large extent, most of Nigerians are Greek produce. We don't have issues with pesticides, with chemicals that will make the product not to pass organic test. So the major problem most exporters encounter is, I would say, carelessness in grading. If you are grading, say something like ginger, and then your workers or your sorting machine is such that it can allow something as big as a bird's feather to still be in the consignment and you bag, then you're looking for trouble. But if at the sorting stage, at the processing stage, at the packing stage, your staff or whoever you've contracted to do that is careful enough, you don't need to go into primary farming on quality of what you export. As we go in our series, in this our mentoring series, you will get to learn how to also control your quality, your quantity, buyer specifications, the standard sets, what to look out for, and the rest of it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
So we go to our case study for today. Case study. This is more like an assignment. Ms. Suti, how many participants do we have? Hello?
So now we have 67.
Okay, I think it's on me.
67 online. 67.
Okay. Okay. So our case study. It says, my friends tell me that agribusiness is the in thing. I have decided to take up the business because one, I have an idea of a niche area, stroke market I can penetrate. I want to earn foreign exchange as income. I want to make a good name for myself. I want to help feed Nigeria's teeming population. I want to join the bandwagon since it is the in thing. Which of the above will most guarantee the success of your business? Justify your answers. So that will be our case study. We are encouraged to send in our questions and their queries.
Okay.
Yes, so before our next lecture, I expect to see what people think based on today's lecture, their answers to the case study.
The chat aspect of this Zoom is not activated. So it needs to be activated, yeah, so that you can put something in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll look into that.
We need the case study to be thrown on the chat so that everybody can be on the same page.
But you can see. No. The answer is for next
lecture. We might have to get more, do a little bit of research based on what Madam has said, and maybe we'll create a WhatsApp or a Telegram group, so we'll take it all from there.
Okay, then in that case, we'll have to create a platform. We'll create a platform for that. We'll create a WhatsApp group for that.
Hello, sir. Hello, sir.
Yes.
Please.
I'll work on that this evening. I'll send you a mail. We have all your emails, so we'll send you a mail and we'll go into that.
Thank you very much.
So, thank you so much. So
in conclusion,
yeah.
Go ahead.
We're going to have this in up to 5 series, 5 or 6 series. So as we go along, we will continue to send you reminders as by the time the next set is set, maybe next Saturday, we will send you an invite again so that we can all be together in this. Thank you so much. Madam, go ahead.
Okay. In concluding, I found this information greatest act of leadership is mentoring. If what you learn, achieve, accumulate or accomplish die with you, then you may not have accomplished. Mentoring is the manifestation of the highest level of personal maturity, security, and self-confidence. An insecure person, so I am wishing that you become a world-class exporter, non-oil exporter, far, far bigger than whatever little impact I've made. Your assignment as a human being has a shelf life. It means it will expire at a point in time. So while it's still fresh, it's better you utilize it. The same with your skills. Your greatest gift to the world is your mentees. True leaders do not seek for one's greatest gift to the world is one's mentees. True leaders do not seek followers. Followers are attracted to true leaders. The greatest obligation of true leadership is to transfer your deposits of skills to the next generation. Leadership success is measured by the success of your successor. Preserve what you have raised in others. Legacy lives beyond the grave through mentorship. Mentorship is not a sprint, rather it is a relay. You pass it on and the next person keeps running. By passing it on, you're not losing anything. I hope that by the time we are gone with all the series, you also will become better exporters, greater exporters, renowned exporters, world-class exporters, more than myself. True leadership measures its success by diminishing dependency factor of its followers. Your goal dependent financially and in terms of business acumen by the time we are done with this mentoring series. When you make people greater than yourself, you are living forever. That's what it means. True leaders seek to empower others. You become great by producing people greater than yourself. When you produce someone greater than yourself, the credit goes to you. When you mentor people, your legacy will make you will make your tombstone unnecessary. Thank you, Her Royal Majesty Adaku Chidume-Okoro Agri-Export.
So we will find out when the next time will be, when we'll be free for the next session. So
maybe 2 weeks time.
In 2 weeks time, okay.
Yes.
So we'll have at that time, reserve that time for you. Thank you so much.
Okay.
We cannot thank you enough. So like the people suggested, we will open up a Telegram group or a WhatsApp group, depending on which one is convenient for everyone. So thank you.
Okay. Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, ma.
Thank
you, Madam.
Insightful lecture.
Royal Majesty.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
God bless you.
Thank you.
My
Thank you.
pleasure.
God bless you.
Madam.